Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So they did a massive update on the skill add-ons. They basically gave it a pretty big buff. Changes they made with the add-ons is that you no longer have the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 add-ons in terms of strength. So they removed all that and they kind of changed it so that all you do now is you change the duration of the said buff. So you'll always get the strongest possible buff, but now all that changes is how long that buff is applied for when you use particular skills. The rules for the add-ons is this: if a skill has 5 seconds or less cooldown, that will be a tier 1 duration of the add-on. If a skill has over 5-second cooldown, but it is less than 13 seconds, so in the middle of 5 and 13, that will be a tier 2 add-on in terms of duration. Don't forget guys, in terms of duration. The effect does not change. And if your skill has over 13-second cooldown, you're gonna get the tier 3 duration of the add-on, which is the maximum duration you can get at the moment in the game. So that is what they changed in terms of how the buffs are applied and the duration and everything. So this has massively changed how classes are played, and it's actually having a lot of fun experimenting. Okay, so this is like a guideline, right? And it's mainly for PvE, though I think what I'm talking about can be applicable in PvP, but I'm going to mainly talk about it in PvE, right? So on your skills, where's the skill interface? On the effects you can get. So the skills have been basically categorized into 6 categories. Okay, there's offensive buffs. Okay, those that gives you stat buffs. So those are things like extra AP against monsters, extra damage to humans. They give you stats to your character. Okay, so that's the offensive buffs. So then you have the other second offensive buff, which are the damage multipliers. So I'm looking for down attack damage, back attack damage, air attack damage, and critical hit damage. This one is also an offensive buff, but it kind of buffs your damage multiplicatively, I guess, but it's different categories. That's why you see you cannot get critical hit damage for like 20 seconds the way you can get extra AP against monsters. Okay, so know there's that difference. So make sure you're keeping that in mind when you're setting up your buffs accordingly, and make sure you cover all bases and make sure you have a really good uptime on them. When you're making your skill add-on page, before you had to use like a specific skill because the add-ons were tied to specific skills, but that doesn't exist anymore. So you can basically do anything you want on your skill add-on page. So you don't really have to follow a particular add-on build. You can actually make your own really easily. So the thing I would like you to know or like keep in mind is there's some really important buffs you want to have running at least 100% of the time if you can, and that's going to make your class like really good. Okay, so what are these important buffs? So extra AP, this is mainly for PvE. Okay, so for PvP, just change things around according to PvP, right? So for PvE, you want to have extra AP against monsters running 100% of the time. Of course, that's a given, right? So look for a skill that you always spam. Just look for a skill that you'll always use off cooldown. So for example, for me on Archer, I use Marked Bloom off cooldown. Like it's always on cooldown. It has a 6-second cooldown. So what do? I put extra AP against monsters, which will last me 12 seconds, but I will always be using this skill every 6 to 7, 8 seconds at most, right? So there's always like this 2-second I'm not doing it, but that means that ensures that this buff is always active 100% of the time, and my extra AP against monsters is already covered just by that one skill. Okay, and then I look for a second effect. What's the next effect that I actually love? I love the attack speed and casting speed. I think these two are really good skills, buffs that you really need to have. Okay, so with my Marked Bloom, I get 2 of the main buffs that I actually want. You see where I'm going with this, guys? Okay, I'm gonna apply that attack speed, and then I look for a different skill that I'll always use as well, which is radiant explosion. Okay, what do you want to do with another skill? What do you need? You need something like crit. Crit rate is also a really important buff to have 100% of the time. If you can cover that with a skill that you'll always use off cooldown, this skill I use it almost off cooldown is a 7-second cooldown skill, and I'll get the buff for 12 seconds, which means I'll always have the buff active, right? So I have covered crit rate, and then I can choose something else here, but I don't want to confuse you guys a lot, because I was gonna for radiant inspection I always go with minus DP for 10 seconds. The only reason I do that is because the skill has its own DP shred, and it stacks together, so you can massively DP shred the mobs. So I put DP up in that to cover those two. Although the DP is not an offensive buff, so this is just the, let's call this the third offensive buff. So what's the fourth offensive buff? The fourth offensive buff is crit damage. You want to look for a skill that will apply crit damage, and in a long enough duration to a point where you can actually spam it. Okay, and where you can, if you use the skill off cooldown, you can get enough duration on your crit damage to have it up active at least 100% of the time. Okay, that's not that easy to do, because crit damage as a skill, it doesn't have, as an add-on, doesn't give you a very long duration of the add-on. So you can choose a skill that can give you at least 7%. Okay, so Glissade is a 6-second cooldown and can give me crit damage, you see, 5% for 7 seconds. Normally I can lose 1 or 2 seconds of uptime on this, because you don't like always use it immediately. It's off cooldown, sometimes you're using other skills, but you guys get the point, right? I just want to cover the basis of all the skills I want, of all the add-on buffs I want. I'm just trying to give you the main ones, right? So crit rate, and then now crit damage. Okay, and with Glissade, I can also apply one more offensive buff that I need. Now, this highly depends on where you're grinding. So you want to choose between, down attack. Where is it? Yeah, you want to choose between down attack and back attack. Most grind zones you're going to be using back attack, but if you are in a zone where you can knock down the mobs, then do down attack. So you can take back attack, you also get it for 7 seconds, and you get that. Now the reason I do this on Glissade on Archer is because Glissade is also a pre-buff skill anyway, so I kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, I have used 3 slots, only 3 slots, Glissade, Radiant Explosion, and Mark Bloom, and I've gotten all my offensive buffs. You see how beautiful that is? Only 3 slots. Now I have 3 more slots where I can like mess around with. The 3 other slots you can use, for example, my Luthergun's call, I can decide that with Lutherguns, I really like the crit damage to be active at 100%. So I can kind of overlap the crit damage, because it's a really good buff to have. And I would also maybe get some extra DP shred. So now I'm just playing around with the skills. Okay, and it's something that I've started doing with my Archer, where I actually am going to take a DP one, for example, like see all DP plus 20 for 25 seconds. It's a very long duration, right? And I am using Righteous Might off cooldown these days, because they kind of buff the skill a lot. It does really good damage right now. And then I can give it something that I don't have, because you don't need to overlap most of these buffs anymore. So all DP, and then maybe even get movement speed. Like I can get movement speed, why not, right? Because why not? I don't need a lot of those things. So I can't tell you to copy it's really hard to tell you use the way I'm doing it here, because this is my playstyle. It is not like the way the old add-ons used to be, where you are like, you had to, the old add-on system, you had to use arrow explosion, because only arrow explosion was the one that was giving you your tier 3 add-on. So you actually had to use it, but now you don't. So you see how easy, like, you can make your own things very easily. Okay, so there's just a few rules. So you just give yourself a few rules. Okay, you want to try and get as many buffs as you can, as many debuffs on the enemy as you can, with the longest uptime possible. Use your combo, what skills you love using, what skills are comfortable for you, and then make add-ons according to that. Don't follow somebody's add-ons, because if you follow somebody's add-ons and then you don't even use those skills, or you forget using those skills, you're going to lose your add-ons. And these days, with the new add-on system, all add-ons are the same, so it doesn't matter what skill you use. So use what you like. That's the thing about the new. That's why I love this new add-on system so much. It's pretty good. So don't blindly follow somebody else's add-ons if that's not your playstyle. Okay, just make your own playstyle. Have fun with it. Have fun with experimenting it. You'll go wrong, to be honest. A few things I would mention is, for example, the only one where I would say I would recommend is something like Red Explosion. The one I've said that has the DP shred. DP shred is actually really good in the end game. Really good. So you can like put some DP shred on some skills. 2 or 3 skills should have DP shred. The maximum one. It's like, it's so good. It's really effective. And if you don't have anything else you need as a buff, just put the DP shred, and you won't go wrong with that. It's actually really strong. For classes that don't follow rotation like Archer, I don't really care what I'm using fast, but I like using this fast that has a DP shred, because now the follow-up damage is always a little better. But yeah, I'm just having fun with it, and I'm not really paying too much attention to that. Okay, and then something like Spear of Sylvia. So Spear of Sylvia, I'll always have DP there, because why not? Why not? And then maybe get an extra accuracy, because why not? I'll have it 100% of the time. Like this, for example, I just made this right now, and it looks pretty beautiful. I think if I go to grind with this, I'll have all of these buffs active at 100% uptime. Like, I don't see anything wrong. The only thing I'm gonna add is probably the back attack somewhere, or maybe just find how to make sure I got, because these are the two that is gonna be trouble keeping them up at 100% uptime. The rest is very easy to keep them up at 100% uptime. Okay, so I hope that is helping you guys understand how to like set up this new add-on system according to your class, because I can't tell you with just with my Archer, because Archer actually has really short cooldowns. So there's some classes with longer cooldowns, so with those ones I expect their buffs to be probably even easier to apply, because the duration is very long. So one skill can put like a long buff, and it's probably easier to upkeep those buffs that way. So have fun with the add-on, guys. I hope that helped those that are confused with how to like set up their add-ons. Until the class discords put up guides on pages for classes. Maybe I'm all wrong. Maybe I'm supposed to be using full plus DP add-ons. I don't know. But I hope that helped you guys, and thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.